Hey, what's up? So today we are talking about the new photo sharing social media app called Lapse. I say new, I think it's been out for a few months now. It was in sort of an invite only phase. Now you can go to the App Store and download it. We're going to talk about sort of what the app is and how I think it is what we sorely needed in the social media space, at least in its current sort of iteration. So we'll do a quick run through of the app and then I'll sort of share why I like it so far and why I think it's a nice tangent sort of step away from the current way social media is done. Before we get into it though, please consider subscribing to the channel if you're interested in tech and intentional living and minimalism, and sort of just the way those all go together is kind of the route that I've been taking on this channel. I'd love to have you, and without further ado, let's get into it. So I wanted to quickly run through the Lapse app. Upon opening the app for the first time, it's literally going to ask you to invite friends and you can't even move forward in the app until you do. That's really annoying, especially if there aren't a lot of friends on the app already. You can either sort of connect with them on the app or you have to literally send out via text message invites to the app itself. So that's a little annoying. I literally sent it to like close friends and family, telling them I don't really need them to download it, but we're gonna kind of get into why it's cool that close friends and family could be on this app here in a little bit. But once you've officially gotten the app open, you've put in your information, you've got your sort of deal set up there. You saw that notification just pop in, which we'll get to in just a second. You're met with this sort of camera setup. So sort of the way this app works, if you don't know, is you take a photo, like I will take a photo of you guys, forgive the mess, and instead of being able to actually go in and view that photo, it goes into your darkroom and it stays there where you can't actually view that photo until you get a notification saying that your photos have been developed. And once they've been developed, as you can see, I have some snaps, as they call them, ready to be developed. You come to this darkroom area, hold to view snaps, and now I'm able to see a ton of photos that I took earlier today. And actually how this works is it's very much a Tinder, Bumble kind of swipe. So if you want to share the photo with your friends, if you like it, you swipe to the right to share. There's probably a couple in here I don't really like. This one, he's kind of, my dog buddy's kind of squinting. I don't want to share that. I can either actually just delete it or I can swipe left to archive it. I don't like that one either. That one's a little blurry. Ooh, that's a good one. So the cool thing about this app is with your photos, it layers on a filter that's sort of nostalgic film-like look. And again, I'll get into in a minute why I like that, and you can't actually choose the filter or change the filter. It is what the app produces, and I actually really like that. I think there's some ways they could iterate on that in the future, but I like that there's not a choice, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So let me finish swiping through my images here, picking the ones I like. I liked all these. I just went downtown to get a fresh haircut, took some photos before my appointment. So after you've developed your film images, you can sort of create an album from them. I'm just gonna click done, and I still have the one I just took, still developing, as you can see that. Back to this page, your sort of camera page. Up in the right corner, you have your inbox. It's pretty interesting. If I wanted to actually send my friend Maggie a little selfie here, send Maggie a snap with instant, which is pretty cool. Check this out. So it actually processes like a Polaroid film, which is pretty cool. And then I can send to Maggie Rotans. She can view it once, something like that. You can add a little note here at the bottom of the Polaroid like you sort of used to. People used to write on that bottom white strip. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. I don't need to send that to her. So there's your inbox. Up here in the top left is more ways of finding people that you might know. You can share the app with people. Down here in the bottom left is your profile, which is pretty cool. So it has you pick some of your favorite or best photos to add to this top section. You have your profile photo, and then what's interesting is there's actually space for 5 emojis around your picture. I've seen people use that to like describe their life. There might be a computer and a dog and kids, something like that. I just went with the little black squiggly lines. I thought that looked pretty cool. You can send vibes to friends. You can send up to 2 vibes a day. I don't really understand that. But down here you can see all of my November snaps I've taken so far. And then you can actually add music to your albums. You can add music to your profile. I've added a Japanese house song, which is pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of old MySpace days when you could have a song playing on your profile, which is pretty funny. There's other little quirky kind of things to the app. Something that's interesting, which is gonna kind of get into why I really enjoy this app, is I can view my friends sort of in the timeline here. It's mostly only my photos because I only have 4 friends on here and they're not super active. So friends and family that I've chosen to connect with here are in this timeline. In the featured section of the app, it's not a discovery section. You actually have to send in photos to the team, I guess, at Lapse, and they sort of curate photos that they want to pick. You're able to submit up to 7 photos a week, I think, and then they actually pick the ones that they like best, which is really interesting. And that sort of will dive us into the reasons that I enjoy this app. I think social media has become such a place of followers and gaining fame, and I understand there's a certain marketing play there. It's great. It's a great way to grow a brand, things like that, but I think what's happened in social media because of this is it's become a game. It's become gaining as many followers as you can. There's less social interaction in a pure, friendly way. And the app itself in the App Store even talks about this is an app for friends, not followers. And the goal here, I think, is it's a true social media app between your friends. It's a way of capturing moments in your life, making it fun that you have to wait a little while to develop them. You can tag people in the photos, you can add music. It's kind of like a visual journal that only those who you're friends with can view. And yes, you can submit some of them to be featured and maybe gain some friends that way, but there's more emphasis on the sort of small community here. I love that. I understand this app's still very new. It's still in a beta sort of zone in terms of development, but I want it to stay this way. I don't know technically if the company has plans for advertising. I'm sure they do, ads. I don't know if they have plans for making it more of a follower kind of thing. But in terms of just the aspect of the social media, you're just sharing moments with your friends. And I love that. I think I've talked about it on this channel a lot before, where I'll just kind of swipe through some of these. Social media to me, it can be a bad place. It can be a place, I mean, you all know this. It can be bad for mental health. It can be bad for certain temptations. It can be bad for buying stuff online, consumerism, comparison. There's so many things that social media can crop up that are bad. And steps in this direction to me seem like the right direction, ways that we can be a little bit healthier with this type of technology. And this is really fun. It's been fun, even just documenting my life. Day to day, things that I see, just snapping a picture. So something I want to get into. So that social aspect is great. I love the whole playfulness of it. The idea of it's almost like a disposable camera where you take the pictures and they get developed later. It hasn't later meaning like a few hours. I don't think I've like taken pictures and then they weren't developed for like a day. Like it's random, but I think it's within a certain time period. At least it has been for me. I've been on here for maybe half a week, something like that. I wanted to dive in, as I mentioned earlier, to the idea of like this filter, this film grain, this film look. So much of creativity, I think, can be hindered by choice. I have a Fujifilm X-T4 camera, and I literally bought this camera. I sold my Sony for the Fujifilm to have the film simulations. And you can get so bogged down into what other film simulations people are using, how you're tweaking yours, how you're changing it, and then sharing that with people, and then realizing, well, it's not the exact look you want. And I love the idea of you get what you get and you don't throw a fit kind of thing with this app. You get the film sim. Your image can't be better than someone else's image because you used a different film simulation. Your image can't be better than your friend's image because you used a different film simulation in the app. It's a level playing field. And I like that there's no editing. I think that's really cool too. But the film sim gives it just enough to make it nostalgic, to make it fun, to make it a little bit more interesting than your phone's camera can produce. And I like that. I think in future versions, it would be cool to iterate on this idea with maybe having a handful of film sim options. Like you could set maybe your film sim to one of 5 different ones, but you have to keep it for a week or something like that. I think that would be kind of fun. Or maybe you can choose it per photograph, but there's still only 5 sims. You can't edit them in any way. You get what you get, but there's just different sort of tastes. I could see that also working well, but honestly, the bare bones of it just being what it is, I think is really fun. It's nice. It's got that little bit of grain. You can create collections, like I said. You can make stories. This is another aspect of the app that I didn't go through earlier, but these, like taking the logo off, things like that, you have to unlock them. You don't have to pay, but you have to, there's a certain checklist. Like you have to send the app to 5 friends, you have to post for 5 days in a row, stuff like that. And then you're able to like basically take the date on and off, get the high res version of the image, take the logo off, and this is for exporting. And so you can go recap, which is super cool. So let's do the entire month. So it's gonna cycle through all the photos, but this is something cool you could then download and put in your Instagram stories, something like that if you're on other social media channels. I have 4 friends on here. I haven't seen any of them post since I've been on, but it's just been fun for me to use this app. Maybe that's vain or something, I don't know, but it's been fun to like see something that catches my eye, take a photo and be like, great, I'll look at that in 2 hours when it tells me I can. There's like fun and there's mystery there. I get so excited when I get the notification that the film is ready to be developed or whatever, and then you go check them out. I think this is sort of the exact kind of app, social media, I've been in search for. I've taken Instagram off my phone. I've actually taken YouTube off my phone. I have like no social media on my phone for various reasons. But as I've mentioned in earlier videos, I'm trying to cut back on technology, on media consumption. I have a family, I have friends. There are other priorities in here and now reality that I like to focus on and not even have the opportunity to be distracted in my pocket. Yes, this is another distraction, but I think it's social media in the right direction. So that does it for this video on Lapse. If you want to add me there, you can scan my QR code and I think I can accept you as my friend, something like that. You should be able to go download it from the App Store. Again, it's a bummer you have to like invite 5 friends to even get in and use the app, but I understand the growth they're trying to achieve there. And I'm interested to see where this goes. Honestly, I think it would be cool if it stays the way it is for a while. My biggest thing is I've seen startup apps like this before. I think this is owned by like Instagram or TikTok or something. I don't know who owns this app, but I've seen startup apps before that are clunky, and this thing, it just works. It just works well, and I think that's really important to have an app that is smooth, it's well optimized, and it just works. It is bare bones, but it works. It's fun, and I don't know, I'm excited to keep using this. If you want to add me, again, there's my friend code. Let me know in the comments what you think of Lapse. Have you used it? Were you even aware that it existed? Do you think this is an app that will cease to exist in a few months? I know Be Real sort of came out strong and then has kind of petered out and gone away. Do you think this could be a better alternative to that? It's definitely fun, definitely worth a few weeks of time, I think, playing around as it is. That's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. Watch this video. I think you're gonna love it, and I will see you all in the next video.